Hey everybody, so good to see you all and to be here on a Monday with you all. I'm so glad that maybe you had a good weekend, hopefully you did, or if you're back at it with time to be back in the work week or the school day, and Monday is just another Monday for you. I hope that this day is a good day for you and that you are finding some peace in this world. It is Monday, so it is time for a check-in from us. And I was thinking about this a lot as I don't know about y'all, but my life, we've kind of gotten settled into what a new routine might feel like or what it might look like. And it occurred to me that we have, at least the Brown house, managed to fill up all of our time again. Everything seems busy. We've got Zoom meetings planned all over the place. School's kind of gotten into its own little rhythm, and as I talk to our youth and talk to some of our people, it sounds like their days are getting packed again. And the other things that I've seen going on is asking the question, maybe it's time for us to evaluate some things in our life and figure out a way that we can reorder ourselves so that coming out of this we might be healthier and maybe even a little happier. The story I want to point us to today comes from the book of Mark, and actually a few other gospels as well, but the book of Mark, and it's about the calming of the sea story. And in this story, the waves are crashing over Jesus, and the disciples are in this boat, and things are getting mighty scary for everybody. And the disciples are frantically going around every which direction, trying to figure out what to do, and you'll never guess where they find Jesus. He's in the back of the boat, and he's asleep. It comes from Mark 4 if you want to read the story towards the end of Mark 4, but it's this amazing story of the world literally swirling around us, and we find Jesus asleep in what we might call a holy rest. Now, this might be something that we can point towards as we swirl ourselves around and get swirled around by the world around us or by the storm that seems to be at our doorsteps. I wonder if we can think about what it might mean to rest even in the midst of storms. One of my shticks of the last year that I've been doing a lot of reading about is about the importance of sleep and how important it is in our lives, in our everyday lives. And in fact, a neuroscientist who studied sleep named Matthew Walker has this really great book called Why We Sleep. And it's fascinating of all the ways that our body resets and the way that our brain resets and how helpful and important it is to get enough sleep in our life. And he has a great TED Talk if you want to go watch it. His name's Matthew Walker again, and it's about why we sleep. He's a neuroscientist. But it turns out that our spiritual lives has something to say about sleep as well. With even Jesus falling asleep in the midst of what seems like a time where he should be going to try to save this boat. And the disciples are frantic, and we find Jesus asleep in the back of the boat. One of my favorite authors for youth ministry and for all that we do is, his name's Mark Yaconelli. This book is called Downtime, Helping Teenagers Pray. But in this book, he has a whole chapter on rest and how important rest is for helping us connect with God and helping us find peace and solace in the midst of frantic lives. And he tells us the story about this one time he was speaking at a youth conference for a bunch of youth leaders from all over the world, thousands of them. And during his keynote talk to these thousands of youth workers, he passed out blankets and pillows to them and said, you know what? Take a 30-minute nap. In the middle of this big conference, take a 30-minute nap. After the exercise, a woman came up to her from Zimbabwe, and she was furious, absolutely furious with him for telling them to take a nap. After all, her congregation in Africa had spent thousands of dollars to get her to this conference in LA to figure out the most important things for youth ministry and how to do the best work in youth ministry that she possibly could. In fact, she said she felt hot. Her face was hot and mad at wasting the church's time and money. But when she awoke 30 minutes later, she tells him, She was at what she called a strange peacefulness. She lay quiet for a few moments and then realized she was breathing below the neck for the first time of many months. At that moment, she realized she was carrying lots of anger, stress, and tears that she'd been afraid to let in to herself. You see, in Zimbabwe, she worked amid a community of young people who were HIV positive. She said many of these youth were filled with fear and anger and sadness. She described the young people she worked with as lepers, ostracized from the community and sometimes separated from their own families. She spent much of her ministry organizing social and educational programs for these youth. But as she rested in God, she realized that maybe what they needed most weren't more Bible study, but instead a safe and welcoming place to sleep, relax, and feel God's peace within their ailing bodies. Y'all might know this about youth ministry at St. Luke's, but when we go on retreats, we try to schedule less as we go. In fact, 2 years ago, our high school retreat was called A Retreat About Nothing. Meaning, is there ways that we can rest in God? So as we start reordering ourselves in the midst of this chaotic storm, and whatever this storm looks like for you personally, in your world, in your life, the struggles going back and forth, the frantic wandering and questions, maybe we can take a cue from Jesus and rest. And rest. There's a lot of stories in the Bible where people find God in the midst of sleep. Jacob, Joseph, Abraham, Paul, Jesus. There's so many of them that find God in the midst of sleep and rest. My homework for you today is to take a nap. A holy nap, shall we call it? A holy nap. To reset and to listen for God even in our very breath. Not only does it help our brains and help our bodies, but it helps our life with God too. So y'all rest well, get a nap, take a break, and as you reorder your life again this week, remember to rest in the Lord, to rest in God, even in the midst of the storms. We love catching up with y'all and seeing y'all and seeing how things are going for you. We're here for you. We want to hear from you. We want to pray with you. We want to pray for you. Let us know what's going on. And grace and peace to you all. Happy sleeping, everybody. Bye.